A few really interesting things about Alex Pereira. First is his stance. There's kind of very upright, bit of anterior pelvic tilt, almost like a sprinter, upright posture. There's a little bounce to it, it's a little bit longer. Two things, also his elbows are really tight. Two things with that, it allows him to transfer his weight forward very quickly into a jab, right hand, or a leaping hook, and it allows him to transfer his weight back very quickly into that signature Pereira hook, counter hook. Also that bounce can kind of hide his movements all the time. He's not stood right still like standard Dutch kickboxer, then exploding off. That bounce can kind of hide when he's pushing forward and back. Number two is his elbow position. So he's not bringing his elbow out wide and his hand out wide in a hook. It's very tight. Same as lead uppercut. It's all very tight. So his jab, lead uppercut, hook. The elbow's really tight. So what that does is it makes it harder to tell which one he's throwing. So he comes down and he comes back up with a hook. Elbow barely comes out, it's just the hip movement changes. He comes down, comes back up with an uppercut. Elbow barely changes, it's just his hips move up rather than across. Makes it hard to predict whether it's an uppercut or a hook. You have to really be attuned to them fine details, which most fighters aren't. Another thing is this right kick and right knee. A lot of people throw the right kick and right knee against a southpaw fighter, or a left kick or a left knee against an orthodox fighter. So if it's southpaw hits you up inside, orthodox hits you up inside, he'll do it against another orthodox fighter and just hit into the closed side. This can break arms a lot of the time because, you know, and he's got wins in kickboxing breaking an arm like this. Throwing this right kick into the closed side because it's harder to come across and block. It's easy to catch and it's not hitting as open a target, but I've got to twist across myself to get multiple points of contact to that. Whereas if it's a left kick, I can just dip slightly. Here, we're more likely to see it almost come across and hit one forearm, which is where the arm can break. Watch Simon Marcus versus Dustin Jacoby, another good example. Final thing I want to say is just these little pauses. So this can come off a right kick or a right knee as well. You right kick, back to his bounce, and then drag that hook through. Or he'll push in, land some strikes, and then drag that hook through. So leaving that little bit of delay, not always like right kick, right hook, right kick, left hook even. That little bit of delay can make people think, okay, it's sound, I'm going to open up. And when they open up, especially with that right hand, they get hit with a left hook. The downsides of Pereira's style is the stance can leave him getting leg kicked, especially early in his kickboxing career, he got leg kicked a lot. And when people put their phases together, like Artur Kashenko, that first counter hook doesn't land clean, you can get caught with a lot of shots on that second phase. If people manage to avoid that counter hook, counter right hand, you can be out of position when people pile up the numbers in the combos.